Okay, for my interview, I chose the owner of Bayway Blinds and Draperies, Jerry Bay. He is my grandfather. They are in the business of window coverings. The services that they offer are the making and creating of blinds and draperies, and then the installation of them in homes and businesses. My grandfather inherited the business from his father in 1972 while it was started in 1942 by his great grandfather. He is the third generation in running the business, and when he started, the business already had a great reputation. They were good at what they were doing, and they'd been running for a good 30 years already. To help prepare for this, he had been working with his grandfather and his father all of his life in the store. But while in college, he decided to take business and design classes to help with this. During his time owning the business, he went through two recessions, one in the 80s and one in the 80s and one in the 2007. Both of these caused him to have to redesign and rethink of how they were going to have their products available and whatnot. During those recessions, they did we will buy things when people order them, because they did not have the money to spend it on anything else. For getting people to come back to their business after they were coming out of the recessions, they reached out to older customers, and in the 80s, they decided to do TV commercials and radio advertisements. But because that wasn't necessarily in their budget and what was possible in 2007, they went to magazines and localized mail send-outs to keep their company local, because they do the installations and everything. A lot of their key points that they had was you have to seek the people out in the business. And by doing this, my grandfather, they joined the Window Coverings Association. They went to business conventions to find suppliers to provide them with the materials they need to make the blinds and draperies. And they continued to look for new innovative ways to keep the business going, because you have people's styles. People want their styles changed. They want blinds, they want draperies, they want shades, they want blackouts, all of these different things that you don't think about until you have to have this product in your house. A lot of big things that they had were changes in the market. And that follows into the three concepts that were really impressive about what they did, is finding what people wanted. Because when they first started out as a company, they only made blinds. But after World War II, the materials that you needed for blinds were no longer available, so they moved on to draperies, because that's the materials that were available and everything else. But after a while, draperies were no longer popular, and it moved back to blinds, and now we have many different forms of it, which they offer the supplies for. Another key point that really helped was my grandparents, after the 2007 recession, decided to keep it as a family business and no longer hire outside employees. So that was a way of them keeping the money cost budget low and being able to find a way to keep the business going. And the final one was their advertisements based on their budget and what resources were available to them. You don't really think about how you're going to advertise out there. It's like, oh yeah, you could post commercials and whatnot, but if that's not in your budget, how can you do that anyways? And they did it through advertising in magazines and sending out mail catalogs. These concepts are really helpful for me, because my business is a mom center where they can take their children, but they can be separated from their children. So if you find a way that we can advertise to these women locally that they have a place to come and they have a place to stay, is a big part of this. And how we can customize it to what the women need is a big part of what I think is helpful